people like us who want to stay in the streets 24/7, some other things to get those baby kids involved.
Usually you're
Until they do that.
Hey man, how you doing?
Do y'all know about that big old building behind Pearl Pond? We started building, used to be a youth services. Been under for 5 years. I've been trying to read Old Mama and they just said about the whole world. They need to and let us run. We have been on basketball games. We started after hours. Classes,
All right. Yeah.
You don't have to speak.
All right. Yeah. All right. I think that you guys will be. You know what's being built behind that?
I mean, it's about y'all.
Yeah, it is.
It's about y'all. Take your stand. Be good. Stand up and be but, I wish I could have gotten
this was from 2 summers ago. Yeah. Ingrid, we dreamed to you. It's like take a break out. Just go.
school board stand. You stand? No, we need. Come on, y'all, support is support back here.
Wait a minute. Something working here. Is this working?
Y'all the young, y'all really need these.
All right.
It'll pick up. Okay.
Nephew.
First of all, thank you all. Thank you all for being in this space. Unfortunately, we're here again, less than 2 years after the Covenant shooting. And unfortunately, not much has changed other than the mental health of our children, the trauma of our children, the emotional state of our children. That's the only thing that has changed. It's gotten worse. We did nothing in between 2023 and today. And so we're here again to call on the community, to call on our leaders, to come up with something, to scream to the top of our lungs and hopefully hit your hearts to start to recognize that this is not a sometime problem. This is not just an infrequent situation. Before we were talking about mass shootings, we were talking about every now and again. It happened over there, Texas. They have it over there all the time. This happens over in Florida. And now we're here twice in less than 2 years in Tennessee. And if we even want to enhance that to think about school shootings as being the young man that was killed in the park in Bellevue. That's a school shooting. Those are students that are impacted. All of our children are impacted. Whether they live in Antioch, or they live in Murfreesboro, or they live in Nashville, every single one of those children in all of those schools were having a conversation about what is going on. Did you hear what happened? Why did he do it? And am I safe? And so I think it's very important that all of us stand in solidarity. And I'm going to give a moment just to anybody out here that feels like they are impacted and are traumatized and are not required to hold a camera, a phone, or a mic at this time, that wants to stand here, needs to be here, because this is us all. And so at this point, I'm going to hand it off to the people that are going to be speaking from the different organizations that they represent. First off, I have Melissa, who is going to be speaking from, she'll introduce it.
Thank you. Thank you all for joining us today. My name is Melissa Alvarez-Zabriskie, and I'm representing the Tennessee Hispanic Action Network, an organization dedicated to preventing gun violence in our community. We're gathered here with heavy hearts to address the tragic events at Antioch High School, which claimed the life of a young Latina girl. Our hearts go out to her family, her friends, and loved ones during this incredibly difficult time. It's important to recognize that the victims of the senseless act extend beyond the young girl who lost her life. The children who witnessed the shooting, the teachers, staff, parents, neighbors, everyone who's grappling with the aftermath. They're all victims of this tragedy as well. In the face of this heartbreaking incident, we must come together as a community to support one another and turn our pain into action. The perceived threat of immigration has no place in this conversation surrounding the very real threat of gun violence in this city. We must unite regardless of background or beliefs to advocate for sensible gun laws that prioritize the safety of our children, families, and neighbors. I ask everybody to stand together in our commitment to preventing future tragedies like the one that occurred at Antioch High School. Yes, it's true that together we can work towards creating a safer, more secure environment for the individuals in our city, but that can't be done in a silo. We need our community, we need our support, we need everybody to participate. Everybody, I understand taking time to grieve. We all need time to grieve. But if we don't do anything about it, if we don't create new initiatives, listen to new ideas, try new things to prevent these things within the confines of what we're limited to now with what our legislation allows and our lack of, rather than lack of restrictions allow, these moments will turn into just blips on a radar and feel meaningless. At what point do we say enough is enough? Every year the number goes up. When we have a bazillion, is that the time that we're going to take action? So I do want everybody to hold space and grieve, and just know that you're not alone in this community. We are all here to hold space and grieve together. But I do call people to action. Contact the Tennessee Hispanic Action Network. Contact any gun violence prevention networks. Google it. See how you can get involved. You'd be surprised, and just a little goes a long way. And we can do it together. Thank you. All right, next I'm going to, next is Kayla.
Here we are again, begging legislators to pass common sense gun laws, pleading with them to choose our children over guns, safety over power, and humanity over greed, to choose comprehensive background checks for all gun purchases, to require permit to purchase, to ban assault weapons, and to keep guns out of our schools. Here we are again, because more lives have been stolen by hurt hands holding all too accessible weapons. Today we mourn 2 young lives lost, 1 more wounded, thousands of students and staff traumatized. Countless Tennesseans heartbroken, afraid, and searching for answers. My name is Kayla Colbert, and I'm the program director for Awake. But more importantly, I'm a believer, I'm a mother, and someone deeply invested in this community. With everything I am, I tell you, the only remedy for this reoccurring nightmare is proactive love and proactive legislation. It's not up to the system to make things better. It's up to the individuals within those systems. Our elected officials have a responsibility, and so do we. No matter how near or far you sit from a legislative seat, you have the power of accountability. And today I'm asking all of us to make the decision to be accountable to our babies, to be accountable to our children, to look them in the face, to really look at them, see their hurt, their hope, their pain, their joy, see the life within them, and to decide to choose them. Choose our children through passing legislation that protects them. Choose our children through acts of love that nurture them. Choose our children because they are worth it. We cannot wait for the next time, and we are past due on Act Now. Before another family is shattered, another school becomes a crime scene, and another community is left picking up the pieces. Tennessee, our children deserve better. And to the elected officials sending thoughts and prayers, thank you. Me too. And I pray that when you get to that intimate part of prayer, the part where God speaks back to you, you have the courage to hear and to obey.
Okay. Miriam, could you come up?
Sure.
Thanks.
Hey y'all. My name is Miriam Abel-Fazley. I am the founder and executive director of Rise and Shine Tennessee. But what I am more importantly is someone who spent too much time here. 2 years ago, galvanized into action, I held a rally and I told thousands of people to come here. And I asked them to get civically involved, civically engaged. I told them to keep these hallways full, committee rooms full, because we were going to bring change. Since then, I've been to, I don't know how many vigils of children, Black, Hispanic, communities across the city. It's not specific to any location or zip code. And I've also been here, watching gun legislation not get passed, trying to understand how to get it passed, talking to Second Amendment folks, and really trying to empathize and with compassion understand how we can come together on this. And here we are, a kid in what I consider my community takes the life of another kid just 3 days ago in school. And what I'm here to ask for is nothing from the legislators. I'm not here to ask for anything from this room, from this building. I'm here to say that we have entered a really scary phase in American history where kids have murders in their cafeteria on their phones. We did that. And I know our legislators and our national leaders have said this is a part of life. So they were ready for this. They're numb to it. They go to bed with that evil in their heart. So what I'm here to ask you, and anybody who's listening, we have to stand up as adults and let our kids know that this dystopian reality is not right, and that there is goodness and purity and wholesomeness in this world, and we are fighting for it. We have to be the models for this. So if you parent, you neighbor, you grandmother is scared, you have to overcome your fear to bring back safety. And I'm not even talking about, safety with a capital S. I'm talking about safety in your heart, safety in terms of what you're seeing on your phone, safety in terms of what your friends are thinking in their heads right now. We have got to step up and come here, step up and go to committee, but step up and look into the eyes of your children and look into the eyes of your neighbors. Let's be together, okay? Because this is going to take a level of humanity and love that we have yet to have seen lately in this country, in this city, and in this state. So it's time. If you're waiting, it's time. Thank you.
Gosh, I'll say it again. Here I am again. I hate this. I do not like speaking in front of groups like this. But when I got the call yesterday, I said, if not me, who? And if not now, when? Last night I had a teenage patient in my office who said, I'm sick of this, and I can't go down there and speak. I can't miss school. And I looked her in the eyes and I said, I will be down there tomorrow along with a bunch of amazing people who will speak for you, and we will not stop speaking for you until this ends. So I'm Dr. Alana Truss. I'm a clinical psychologist. I'm a mom to two amazing boys. And I look in their eyes and I know we got to stay here. I'm also the state lead for BSmart, which is a secure firearm storage program. It's a program of Everytown for Gun Safety Support Fund. So we all in this room know, school shootings and youth gun violence more broadly is a multifaceted, complex problem, and it's going to absolutely require a multifaceted solution that's going to take all of us coming together from different walks of life, different thought patterns, different angles to figure out what it is we need to do. We know firearms are currently the leading cause of death for our American youth, killing nearly 2,300 children under the age of 18 every year. That's over 6 a day. While we are here, inevitably a child somewhere in this country will die. According to the 2024 Tennessee Child Fatality Report, children in this state, just as a function of being a child in Tennessee, are 37.1% more likely to die than children in this country, which is already an exorbitant number. We are 37.1% higher than that. When I look at my kids and think, oh my gosh, what are we doing? Here in Tennessee, our youth firearm deaths are mostly homicides, about 68%, 26% suicide, and then 4% unintentional shootings. Those incidents where a child gets their hand on a firearm and unintentionally shoots themselves or someone else. We need to be talking about all of those. Those are all important. Those are all lives. A note of hope, that same child fatality report, those folks painstakingly review every child death in this state. In the most recent report, they deemed 95% of firearm deaths in children in this state preventable. Hear that word, preventable. That means there is work to do, there is change we can make. That's why we're here today. Take this stat home with you, because this is one that tends to hit people. In this country, there are 4.6 million children living in a home with at least one loaded, unsecured firearm. That is a gun that is a hand's reach away from getting into the child's hands with awful, awful consequences. We know most youth suicides, unintentional shootings happen in the home of the child, and the Secret Service data shows us that 3/4 of school shooters get their gun from the home of their own family or a close relative. We can do better. We also know that secure storage matters. When guns are stored securely, locked up separate from ammunition, we lower the risk of self-inflicted firearm injuries by 78%, and the risk of those unintentional firearm injuries by 85%. I can't think of many things in this world that we can do and have that big of an impact today, tomorrow, the next day. So this data taken as a whole, to me, demonstrates the significant impact we can have simply by committing to securely storing our firearms and expecting that of those people in our world, our friends, our families, our neighbors. We know we can't rely on politicians to pass laws that prioritize gun safety, so we are here to focus our efforts in the places we have power, and that is here in our communities with the people who are ready to do this work. BSmart takes a nonpartisan approach to educating adults about not only the importance of secure firearm storage, but what does that look like in practice? And not only how can you do that, but how can you talk to your friend? How can you talk to your neighbor, your parents, when your child is going to play in another home? You know, we always say, do you have pets? Do you have a pool? Who's going to be supervising? Why can't we say, if there are firearms in your home, can you let me know how they're stored? My kid's curious. I guarantee he'll find it if you have it. We want to make this the norm, that we are having these conversations because we care about our kids, our schools, and our communities. As far as I know, we don't yet know how the shooter at Antioch High School got the gun. What we do know is guns have absolutely no place in our schools. Here in Tennessee, we've got the wind at our back on this one. The BSmart program has been endorsed by the Tennessee chapter of the American Academy of Pediatrics. That child fatality report that comes out every year, the most recent version, has Be Smart listed as a prevention opportunity. Let's take that opportunity. Our volunteers across the state have partnered with families, medical providers, educators, faith leaders, law enforcement, anyone who wants to come on board and help educate our communities about secure storage. We offer training sessions. We go out and table at community events, and we need more people. We need all of us doing all of this work. This is a piece of it. So if you're curious, you can chat with me after. You can text 64433, or sorry, text SMART to 64433, or visit besmartforkids.org. I'm not standing here saying that this information today brings back a life that's been too tragically lost and cut short, but it's a step we can take moving forward so we're not constantly back here in this room. So thank you all for being here.
Good afternoon. My name is Jermaine Cole Jr. I'm 19 years old. I'm a college student, and I'm fed up. You know, I'm tired. This is long overdue. I shouldn't be here today. I should not be standing here. I should be at work right now, but I had to call out because I had to be here. This shooting was 7 minutes away from where I grew up. This is in my backyard. My backyard. When is it going to be? When is enough enough? Covenant was less than 2 years ago. 2 years. And we're back here doing the same drill, pleading and asking, hoping and praying that they will do something about gun violence. We're no longer asking, we're demanding. In this special session, in this Tennessee General Assembly, gun violence preventions better be put in law now. I'm tired of doing this. Year after year, I show up hoping that they'll do something about gun violence, and it never changes. It never does. When are we going to hold our elected officials accountable? When are we going to make sure that the people in their district understand they are killing us in our schools? I'm tired of going into my college classrooms and going to the left side of the room to be as close or as far away as possible from the door. I shouldn't have to do that. I should be going to school getting armed, you know, with a textbook, with knowledge, with an education. But instead I'm armed with pencils, sharpened pencils in case they break into my classroom. That's wrong. Having barricades close to the door just in case someone wants to get in. Having to keep people on all corners of our college hallways. This is an issue. And our elected officials, you know, we're putting you on notice. I know, you know, it's like it's overdue, and I don't have the words because, I mean, we've done this so much. We've sat here so much. We've done press conferences. We've asked. We've met with you. You know, we've, you know, done these things. You give us things we don't ask for. Arming our teachers with guns, we never asked you for that. Every school district across the state has rejected that notion. We're asking you for safe storage gun laws, for common sense background checks. Common sense. We don't want more guns. We want you to do something and to protect us in our schools. Thank you.
I'm going to bring up this next speaker, and the reason why I felt it was so important that I introduced this next speaker is I don't know if when I introduced myself, I told y'all that I am a victim's advocate of mothers on murder, as well as I lost my own son in 2020 to gun violence. And this individual that I am bringing up next has been in these streets for 20 years as the founder of Nashville Peacemakers and with her grassroots program, Mothers Over Murder. She has been the only individual that I have met in this 5 years that I have went through my grieving process and given me the ability to use my voice to enact change that has not only been mentoring youth and coming into the homes of these troubled youth and coming up with ways to pour into them, but also giving a voice to these mothers and helping them navigate their pain. The reason why I said it was so important for me to introduce her is because it scares me that this individual, who I've only been out here 5 years as I've been viewing violence through this lens now of being impacted, and I cannot believe that we still have not blueprinted her, poured into her, and invested her so that this worked, because we should not be still having this conversation. So I'm going to turn this over to Clemmy Greenlee. Thank you so much for being in my life and helping me find my voice, but we've got a lot of work to do.
Yeah, can my clap be a little louder? You know, I always toot my own horn because I don't know why I'm still here when my son was murdered in 2003. I mean, it's just ridiculous and it's scary.
So I'm not here to plead with the elected officials. I'm not here to plead with any of you guys. I'm here to put fear in your heart. I am a mother of a murdered son, grandson, and nephew. Between January the 1st and January the 10th, we had 4 young boys, oldest one 29, youngest one 16, murdered in the streets this year. So if we don't talk about guns and put it with the schools and not just say school shooting, we got to talk about gun shooting violence, period. Because every single day, I am getting a call from a mother whose child has been murdered in the street at 12:01, 10 o'clock, 4 o'clock. So I can't just separate what I do. I don't just do school violence. I said that with the covenant. Until we get the school and the community and everybody in legislation to stay on that one subject, gun safety, we're not going to be anywhere. We wouldn't have had the school shooting if we had came up with a way to get these guns out of their hands in the first place. I have said this, and thank you for saying that about my blueprint. I have been saying this for years. Nobody has anything for these youth to do, whether you black, white, Hispanic, I don't care what color you are. After 4 o'clock, everything is gone. Everything. They can only stay in your house so long. I don't care what you got, how you live. They can only stay in there. That mental state of mind bothers me when I stay in my living room too long. So when you say, go outside and play, or you want to go holler at your friends, you don't know what that means, because the friends don't have too much positive stuff to do. Until we find something no after school, no after program, or after our building that I have been crying about for 5+ years that I'm willing to run, because I will have all kind of, how many people here work in schools? Come on. How many?
We have kids in school.
How many? Yeah, no, how many work in schools? Because you know that you done been, I'm in this school with him, John, Jerry Baxter. Those kids all over the place. So we can't just keep talking about school shooting and we ain't going in there talking about the school. We can't keep talking about school shooting, coming there with the gun, when we ain't even going in the classroom trying to get them to calm down so the teacher can see if they got a gun or not. So I'm not here for the big encyclopedia words. I'm not here for the pulpit for me. I'm here to put fear in your heart. They will be in your community next. Brentwood from the hood, Franklin, all of the above. They're going to be there. You know why? They're going to be tired of killing us. They're going to be tired of robbing us. They're going to be tired of stealing guns out of our cars, and they're coming to you guys. They're already out there with your cars. And those who got the guns in their cars, you're not going to talk to me about school shooting and my murders that I have in my community every day if you don't talk about us and our insensibility of trying to protect these guns. Last year, we was up to 800 guns that was in a car. Year before last, we was up to 1,500 in a car. So here's my pitch, and y'all can cut it and you can play it. It don't make me no different. If a person steal a gun out of your car and come and kill my son, I'm pressing charges on you and the people who had it in the car. And I'm coming to the legislation this year to get a fine put on everybody who they get a gun out of their car. When you done saw it on the news, you done seen it in the paper, and you still leaving them in there. I don't want nobody to go to jail, but I want you to pay a hefty price, $500, $1,500. So that'll stop you. This is how you start helping the community. Keep coming up here talking about the same stuff. I didn't want to come. But when she called me, now we talking about black and brown. Come on. I don't hear no and all that now, do I? We're talking about black and brown that don't get talked about a lot. When this child called me, because all us children, when this young woman called me and asked me to help do a candlelight visual for a Hispanic 18-year-old that nobody paid attention to, that got gunned down out in Gallatin Road, it blew my mind. I cried for a week. What you mean? Ain't nobody coming to do no candlelight visual for them. What? Who is them? Them, those, and they. Y'all quit. Right. Mm-hmm. We got to quit this now. You know, I don't need to be in front of TV. I am the TV. So we have to quit trying to do stuff just to be politically correct. Ain't nothing political correct when we got mothers and families tore all the pieces, kids scared to go to school. Hell, I'm scared to walk to Kroger's. I'm scared I'm finna get gunned down. I hate that my kids have went wild. You know why? Because we all failed them. Quit blaming these kids. We failed them. Do I want to keep talking about mental illness? Yes, I do. Because everybody, I believe, even y'all, got a little mental illness touch. So you don't know the pressure that these kids are going through, going on, and got going in them that we don't pay attention to. So again, I'm not here to plead mercy on anything. I'm here to put fear in your heart. Look at all the cameras on me. Fear in your heart. Because we're coming to your neighborhood and there's nothing that's going to be able to be said or done because they're out of hand now. Bring back people like us that want to come to the schools, Miss Battle, that wants to talk to the classes and bring them real street talk language, because y'all done about too much encyclopedia in here. Y'all done about too much dictionary words in here that it flew over my head. So if you can only imagine that these kids, these young people that's standing behind me don't understand some of this stuff. You guys got to come back to the norm. You got to come back to when you was 12, 13, and 15. Quit forgetting where you come from. Fear in your heart. That's the only message I'm finna give you guys. Because if you don't step up and think you won't be next, then you got another thing coming. I will waste another breath. I would not waste another breath. Coming up here, sitting in that legislation, watching them hit that hammer, and at the same time take that pencil and sign off on that bill in your face. I would not give them that much power over me. I'm telling y'all that now. You can call me what you want to call me. But if you want me out, you want to meet me, you meet me out in the street. You meet me on the basketball court. You meet me in one of them centers where they all at. These kids are the one that need to be organizing. These kids should be the one had this room filled. Not just going out Antioch because of school shooting. Every single chance we get, we should be doing this. So that's all I'm going to say to you guys. Fear in your heart.
Thank you so much. That's Clemmy Greenlee, Mothers Over Murder. I'm very proud to call her my friend and my partner and everything. She's, as you can see, she's been doing this a really long time. And rather than reinventing the wheel, she's helped me so much. We can, as a community, cares about this. We can learn so much from her. She's been wonderful to all the other gun violence prevention organizations as well. So I want to open it up if anybody wants to come up. I do want to say my daughter just walked in.
Oh, wow.
So she goes to, do you mind if I speak about you? Why is my kid not in school, right? So she went back to school today. Are you okay? What were you saying? And she couldn't focus in class.
See.
And she had a hard time today, so I called to let her get out of school so that way, because these things affect all of our kids. So she goes to school right down the street. I wanted my baby close to me, so here she is. So when I say that this is affecting kids that are in all schools, and again, I agree, I have to bring up, it's not just schools, right? We're not safe really anywhere. If I go to a grocery store, if I go to a theater, if I go to anywhere. So what is our option? Are we supposed to stay at home and become isolated and then just be covered in depression and anxiety? Is that the society that we want for ourselves and for our children and for our families? Or do we want to be able to connect with others and have experiences and stay off of our phones? Aren't the experiences of life, but going out and actually being present in the world, but there aren't any protections for us. So you that risk. So yeah, when I say she had a tough time at school today, and I told her to come home. But that's not just school. It's when you go to church, when you go to anywhere you can think of. It's already occurred. It's not a hypothetical. If you think of a place and you're like, I'm safe at the grocery store, please think again. That is not a hypothetical. There is nowhere that we are actually safe. So yeah, do you mind if I call you up?
Yes.
Do you want to speak, please? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I'd just like to say, my name is Michael Greenwood, by the way, founder and executive director of Humble Beginnings. we're a mentoring program. We work in a number of schools. We've had worked in a number of middle and high schools. And we recently did a program with Mothers Over Murder and Clemmy Greenlee to do a pledge to stop gun violence that we are looking to take to more schools.
Yes.
And the things that were said today about gun laws is very needed, very necessary. And I agree 100% with everything that I heard today. But just speaking for the youth, my experience in dealing with school kids in multiple schools, black, brown, white, whatever other color, I deal with kids of all colors. What's really lacking is hope. These kids do not have hope. Right now, we have teachers that are great people, great teachers, great heart. They're teaching a curriculum that they know doesn't work. They know it doesn't work. If you pull them to the side and you ask them, they know it doesn't work. And these kids know it doesn't work. And if you're teaching them a curriculum that everyone knows doesn't work, the kids are thinking you don't care about them. So if the message we're sending them every day, and a lot of these kids are dealing with poverty, right? So poverty starts, so you're like, my home life is this. So does the world care about me? Then I go to school, and we got to think about this. This is 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, right? This is the majority of the time these kids are seeing these buildings more than they're seeing their home. They're seeing these teachers more than they're seeing their mother. So if we're not giving them anything at these schools, then you begin to live a life with no hope. And if you don't care about yourself, it becomes real easy to not care about the person next to you. It becomes really easy to not care about the person next to you. So I just wanted to come up here and be a voice for them, because they don't get invited to these that often. I feel great seeing young people here. But I just wanted to speak for them to say, everyone knows that the change needs to be made. We can stop playing stupid. We can stop playing crazy. We all see it. These kids grew up in a different time than what we grew up in. They're a lot smarter than we were. They're a lot wiser than we were. Okay? Even if they don't read the textbook as well, even if they don't do the math problem as well, these kids are very smart.
Yeah.
They grew up in a social media era. All of us, a lot of us, me included, we're still learning about social media. I don't get every social media that comes out because I'm like, I don't have time to learn that. These kids, they learn it, they know it, they can teach it to you. A lot of us are handing our kids and grandkids the phone and saying, how you work this? So don't think that these kids are stupid just because they don't know who discovered America. They just don't care. They're hungry. I don't care who discovered America. My lights ain't on. I don't care who discovered America. I ain't seen my dad. He been in jail for 3 years.
That's right.
This is the problem. And until we start pouring resources into the people who will deal with the problem, like Clemmy Greenlee.
Thank you.
Until we start pouring resources into these individuals, into these organizations that are on the streets, that are doing the work, that are connecting with the kids, we're going to continue to have this problem. Because even with all the gun laws, they're going to find them.
Yeah.
They're going to find the guns. They know how to use them because they all playing Call of Duty. Right? So we have to get to a point where we really want to deal with the problem. We have to bring back hope. We have to let them know that there is life after this. There is happiness after this.
Yes.
And so either there is an issue where we don't have resources or they're going to the wrong person. I'm going to let y'all decide which one that is.
Wow.
But one of the two is happening. Either we don't have resources in this city where all these buildings keep getting built, or they're going to the wrong people.
That's right.
So again, I just wanted to speak for the young people because I have to, or I choose to deal with them and see them every day, and I hear their voices. I hear what they tell me that no one else is listening to, and I just wanted to express that to whoever wanted to listen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello everybody, my name is Drew Spiegel. I'm 19 years old. I'm a sophomore at Vanderbilt, just a few miles away. This is a position I never thought I would be in 5 years ago. But, you know, my generation, we're called the school shooting generation, soon to be what looks like what will be called the first school shooting generation. We've grown up hiding in our classrooms, waiting for somebody to come in and kill us. We remember Sandy Hook. We remember Parkland. We remember seeing the people our age go to school and not come back alive. We know that school shootings and mass shootings for us were never a question of if, but a question of when.
That's right. Come on now.
For me, that when was July 4th, 2022. I was next in line to walk in my local 4th of July parade in Highland Park, Illinois, when gunfire erupted. 7 people were shot and killed, 48 more were injured. That day, as I saw the bullets fire down, and I saw parents jump over their children trying to protect them with their lives, I turned in the opposite direction. I texted my parents that I might not come home. I became a part of the large community in America that calls themselves gun violence survivors. I came to Tennessee about a year after, and there, after so much struggle and heartbreak in Highland Park, I saw the same exact struggle and heartbreak with Covenant. And now, not even 2 years after that, I'm back here again. Because we are having that same exact struggle and heartbreak in Antioch. Our generation has grown up waiting for these mass shootings to occur, waiting to watch our friends and peers and even ourselves die in places where we thought we could be safe. On the headlines, we see the number of kids killed and the number of kids injured. But I'm not one of those kids, as are most kids in my generation. Because what isn't reported is the number of texts sent to parents saying, "Hey mom, I might not be coming home from school today. Love you." What we're not going to see is the number of kids who flinch on the street when they hear a loud pop. What we're not going to read about are the number of kids that get nervous to go into an assembly at their gymnasium because they think that a shooter might come in and kill them. That is what our generation has become, a generation of gun violence survivors, whether they were at a shooting or not.
Yeah.
A generation that is constantly waiting to run from bullets. We deserve better. We deserve better than a legislature that has tried to kill a mockingbird out of our classrooms more than guns.
Come on.
We deserve a legislator that will put our lives over the money of the gun lobby.
That's right.
This Monday at 1:30, students are organizing a march outside the Capitol. We are bringing the community with us, and we are going to tell the community and the state and the government that we are fed up and tired of living like this. We do not want to be the first school shooting generation of many. We want to be the last. Thank you.
Does anybody else want to say any words? All right. Well, so the Tennessee Hispanic Action Network will be supporting their rally. I really hope everybody can come out Monday at 1:30 at the Capitol steps. We're also, our organizations all together here, we're also have a community, community gathering today at Plaza Mariachi at 6 o'clock. We invite everybody to come. It's will be a time to be together, to heal, to discuss. We'll have mental health therapists there, we'll have psychiatrists there. Sorry, it's so emotional. We'll have community leaders there as well. And I hope everybody's able to come, 6 o'clock tonight, Plaza Mariachi, and 1:30 on Monday on the Capitol steps. I hope to see everybody there. Thank you so much for everybody for coming out. If anybody has any last things to say, I think then we're all wrapped up. Thank you guys for coming. Yep, any questions? Sorry.
2 questions. The first one, you just mentioned the special session on Monday, and this is for anyone, including lawmakers, that may be in here. A couple of hours ago, I did reach out to the governor's office to ask, because we're starting to hear calls of gun reform or school safety measures to be added to the special session. I have not heard back from the governor's office. Are you calling for that, and are you disappointed that we have not heard anything from the governor regarding those issues, potentially?
Yeah, actually, I want to take that one.
Take that, yeah.
And I'm going to take that one because I feel like a special session talking about taking $7,000 per child out of the school to fund individuals who already can pay for private school slaps in the face of public safety. So how do you put both of those on the same agenda?
That's right. Thank you.
As soon as this shooting happened, unfortunately, most of us was speaking from emotion and speaking from fear, and we're asking where the SRO officers were, right? But in order for an SRO officer to stop every single place a child who is emotionally disturbed or whatever is going through their head to pick up a gun, you would need an army of them. Where's the army of therapists? Starting in elementary school. Cyberbullying starts in elementary school. And if we're going to address bullying the same way we address drugs, I'm sorry, Nancy Reagan, say no to drugs, then stop people from smoking crack. So say no to bullying and say no to guns ain't going to stop that. We have got to focus on why these kids are picking up guns. We have got to. And if you think that arming an SRO officer or putting in, just having metal detectors, just like the brother just said, is going to be the fix, it ain't. So to me, it don't even belong on the same agenda. It needs to be a whole separate agenda contradicting the fact that he's taking $7,000 per child out of the school systems. That is going to further harm our children.
My second question would be related to something you just said, and it could be to anybody. WSMV4 Investigates has learned that 2 years before the shooting, Metro Police went into the Antioch school shooter's home and removed 2 weapons. Police are now telling us, due to juvenile confidentiality, they cannot tell us who had possession of those guns, why they were taken, or any more about those weapons. Is that part of the problem, that we can't learn, especially if there's juvenile confidentiality, how these young people, particularly in this case, are accessing weapons, and how those 2 got into the home that we now know were removed?
We know how to access, and I don't think that's necessary.
But are you worried that police aren't giving more information to regards like that case from 2 years ago?
I don't think it's, I think it's irrelevant, because then when you start to say focus in on manifestos, and when you start to focus in on particular cases, then you generalize it just being that one individual. We need to understand that this is symptomatic of what these children are going through right now. But if we only focus on what happened in his position, in his situation, then all actions will only be focused on that situation. But there's too many root causes here. There's too many. And the divisiveness has got to stop. We can't focus on just the guns. We can't just focus on this being a marginalized community issue. This young lady, her family fled Guatemala less than a decade ago. Never in their wildest dreams did they imagine their child would be gunned down in school after just celebrating a quinceañera. So I think it's important that we don't focus on those onesie twosie things, because then it allows for us to not look at big picture items. Is it important as far as the police themselves and saying that they can come up with ways that they can look at, how they're going to search for a weapon? But, one thing I'm scared of is the media, 2 things that the media focused on in the last week. Which they focused on that this boy was able to access a weapon before, and now he's still out here. And they also focused on the fact that so much violence has happened, apparently, in this particular school system. And so then what's going to be our knee-jerk reaction? Everybody's going to be asking, we need to lock up all the kids, right? That's going to be our knee-jerk reaction. We're not safe because the kids aren't locked up. He should have never been out on the streets. However, there was other actions that could have been taken with that young man.
That's right.
There was other actions that could have been taken to that young man. What happened to family counseling? If it was that he got the weapon from somebody in the home, or the fact that this child, what I heard in this manifesto, he was talking about how much money that his family made in comparison to other people. Nobody addressed any of his issues. There's organizations out here that can help with these children and find out what is bothering them and help them. But nobody was called in when they found the weapon, even if they had juvenile confidentiality laws and they didn't feel nobody could be arrested. Why didn't they call any organization and say, hey, this is a troubled family?
Yep.
Hey, I think these people need some wraparound counseling here to help out with a family that has a lack of resources, to help out with a family don't know how to resolve counseling, to help out with a family that might be emotionally troubled, and so now their own child is emotionally troubled. Nobody did none of that in the 2 years?
Speak.
So, I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated.
Any other questions?
I do have
Yeah.
a question. So I've seen a lot of your faces before. I covered every square inch of the Covenant School shooting, the aftermath, the special session, the regular session after that. What are the lessons you all are taking from that experience for everyone charging up here demanding reform? That did not happen in the way that I feel like a lot of Covenant families anticipated that it should, and that it did not. What lesson are you taking now before special session starts Monday and we go back into this session? It sounds like a lot of you have zero hope in legislators and zero expectation that they will do anything for you here at the Capitol.
Go ahead.
That helps.
Definitely.
I would say a lot of what has been said, specifically with those people working with youth, the glaring message from this week for me is these kids are not getting support. I mean, that's all I took away from all this. The kids are not getting support. So blaming whatever, I mean, when you talk about juvenile, it just makes me shudder, because the guys up there, they love lowering the age of kids being tried as adults. So anytime you go there, I'm just thinking, oh great, now 10-year-olds need to be tried as adults so we can find out about their guns in their houses or something. Yes, there should, I mean, I'm all about responsible gun ownership in the household, and kids should not have these guns, and we can talk about that. But in terms of your question, that's why I said to the parents, to the adults, to the mentors, to the neighbors, something's going on with us.
Yeah.
Something is going on with us, and I know we're all worked to death, and people working so many jobs, and we're struggling. Groceries are $1,000 a month now. So let's talk about that whole problem, as Rafia was talking about. So I'm exhausted, and I come home at 8, and my kid's not doing well. What do I do? I have heard so many awful things about the experiences of that child. So for me, it's about us, and it's not just about us, you know, showing up and signaling or whatever. It's about, you know, these programs of these kids. I'm the mother of a 7-year-old in public school. It takes so much to pour into him, with all that I have and all the resources I have and everything, to make sure he does well in this world. And I just want to say about the vouchers, because I think these are totally different things. Vouchers should not happen in this state, full stop, because public education clearly is lacking resources. So next week should be about stopping vouchers, full stop. That's it. It takes the energy, it takes Herculean effort, which I am so proud of Tennessee working its tail off to stop this. But clearly, $9 billion and us, I mean, that's a tough fight. So no, I think we should be focused on stopping vouchers next week. A lot of us have been through special session, and they will make a fool of you.
Yes, they will.
In that situation. So no, I don't want a freaking special session on fake public safety from those people. I want us. There's tons of people here. There's tons of people out there. I want us to start taking our community, being responsible for our kitty and our kids. Listen to someone like him. Everything you say rings true to my experience raising my son right now. From behavior in the classroom, to feeling lost, to not knowing your purposes, to being bored out of your mind. I mean, that example was perfect. He's so bored. What's up? You know? So yes, I think let's focus on our communities, let's focus on our kids, let's focus on these schools, let's fund these schools. And yes, let's get guns out of there. Yes, let's figure out who possesses those guns and why they're letting kids have it. I'm all about accountability. I might stand alone on this, but I'm about accountability for that. But those are separate. And let's have both of those conversations, all 3 of those conversations. Sorry. Get out.
I wanted to also address that question. My name is Delicia Porterfield. I'm a councilwoman at large here in Nashville, Tennessee. Before I was a councilwoman, I spent about 10 years in public education between Williamson County and Metro Nashville Public Schools. And before I was a school teacher, I was a mother of a 17-year-old child who was a public school student. And before I was a mother, I was a resident of the Antioch community for the last 21 years. So this resonates with me because this is my backyard, this is my community, and as a mother, as an Antioch resident, and as a legislator for our local government, this really hits home. And when I think about the lesson from Covenant, what we saw was this city galvanized and wrapped their arms around Covenant families, and we saw an outpouring of support like we have not seen before. We saw people organizing across this state and across this country, pouring love into our covenant families. And we demand the same thing for the families in Antioch. Because our children, our black and brown children, our middle class children, our families from a lower socioeconomic status, they deserve the same thing. And they deserve the same outrage because their lives are just as valuable as the families of covenant. And I'm thankful that one of the covenant mothers was with us when the night of the tragedy, we opened a local church and we opened up a healing space. And one of our covenant mothers was with us in that space. And she stood with us and she lifted that up and said that these families deserve the same thing. So the lesson that we learned out of covenant, when I was driving from Antioch to be out here marching with the students and standing with those students, when my Antioch daughter left school to be here, standing and chanting and protesting with tears in her eyes, demanding common sense gun reform. When we stood with another part of town for a school I never heard for, we demand that this whole city stand with our Antioch families. Monday, this plaza needs to be crowded. If you care about students, if you care about common sense gun reform, if you care about keeping our kids safe, if you care about any of that, we need to see you Monday. And we have to keep putting pressure on our legislatures, and I know we are without hope. We are without hope when it comes to our legislatures and what they are going to do, and it's going to take a community effort of all of us. It's going to take legislators passing common sense gun reform. It's going to take investments in community centers and nonprofits that are doing the work. It's also going to take gun owners locking their guns up, not keeping them in cars. We cannot continue to do the same thing and expect different results.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
I've got a follow-up
Yes.
question. Maybe the student activist can
Yes,
can
please
speak to
come
this.
up.
Just in general, what's the plan to make the pressure to make lawmakers feel the pressure? I mean, obviously we have some Democratic lawmakers in here. The Republican lawmakers are not showing up to this.
No.
They didn't respond to the protests, following covenant. It's already been said about the special session. I mean, what's the kind of tactic in these next steps to get people to listen?
Look, yeah, I mean, we're not naive. We know that the odds are stacked against us. We know that Republicans in this state, a lot of them have no intentions of making our communities safer, of stopping these school shootings from happening. So we know that the change that we want to see is not going to happen overnight. But by being out there on Monday, we are going to show, firstly, that we are resilient and we will not stop pushing. We will not give up. We are not numb to this. We will never see our generation dying in schools, or for that matter of fact, any generation dying anywhere from gun violence, and say to ourselves, this is normal. We are going to accept this. We will be at the Capitol. We'll be letting them know that we are noticing this and we want change. And that change might not happen overnight, but we're going to have it happen one day.
Ballot box.
And secondly, as everybody was talking about, we're going to try to make change outside of this legislature. We're going to have change in the community.
Yes.
We're going to rely on each other when we can't rely on the people in this building all the time. And we're going to get through this, and we're going to create a better future for one another.
I actually add to that too, real fast. Yesterday I was there. Me and Melissa actually went to Antioch, the reunification center where they were releasing the kids, and someone actually like, oh, this is normal. I said, this is not normal. And to answer your question, a way we can call it out is we should call out common sense things, in the sense of it's easier for a 17-year-old to get a gun and go shoot up a school than it is for someone to go vote. Like, these things are common sense. And so it's like we have to stop being numb to the issue of like our schools are getting shot up or our streets are getting shot. Like, this is not normal. This is something that can easily be fixed, but it's through the inaction of the people in this building that put us in this. This is not a lifestyle, this is a life choice. And the choice is not, we're not making that choice. We're being forced the choice by the people. This 75 who run this House and the however many who run the Senate, I mean, this is not normal. And we have to keep pushing them and make them understand that if you guys are going to put us in this situation, we will keep showing up, we will keep speaking, we will keep voting, we will keep educating, we will keep, bring people to therapists. We will keep doing everything we can to get you out of your seat and make sure you lose your power. Because power is fragile. And when everyone's united, that power goes away. I think it's going to start simple. It's going to start local by educating people. And whenever we understand that we are united and we're not going anywhere, they will lose their power. And that's all we got to do is stay united.
Amen.
All right.
Do we have any other questions or? All right. All right. Yeah, you want to come?
I'll add to that question. I am by no means like a policy person, yet I find myself here quite often. If you have a phone, you have the ability to be an advocate. I don't know about y'all, but if I see a number I don't know calling me time and time again, eventually I'm gonna pick up and be like, what is going on? Like, what is the emergency? And so DM these people, email, call, blow them up.
Yeah.
Consistent and persistent. That's what accountability is. And so we all have that ability to be advocates simply from wherever we are by being persistent and consistent. Let them know that this is an emergency and we need you to respond.
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, so I think if that's it, we'll wrap it up. And again, thank you to everybody that came out. Appreciate you.
I got a call from the